Hi, this is Jill from Humu Yoga, and this is the gentle practice. And today we're going to be working with the theme of momentum. Every week, I choose a new theme and we weave it into the practice. And it's a way of going inside and centering and finding purpose. And this can translate over into your life as well. So we'll go ahead and start. Start by finding a comfortable seat. You could sit up on a blanket, or you could have your legs out in front of you if that felt better in your body. So we'll just go ahead and find that position and take the hands down once you've done that. And notice, can you sit up? So as you try not to have your low back curling back this way, and have it engaged and the belly in and lifting you up. And then with the fingers reaching down, focus on all the muscles you're sitting on, the pelvic floor. We call that Mula Bandha. Mula means root, Bandha means lock. So engaging Mula Bandha, right above that, below the navel, draw it back and get a sense of lifting upward. Uddiyana Bandha, it means flying upward, lock. And then from there, at the top of the spine, just draw the chin down. We call that Jalandhara Bandha, chin lock, and it seals in the energies of bandhas. And with the bandhas engaged, you're supported internally so you can release the hands. And just for a moment, let's focus on the breath. As you inhale, feel the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, you feel the rib cage draw closer together and relax. And just focus on the inhalations and the exhalations. One more. Inhale, breathing in, and exhale. And now take the hands together at prayer position. We'll take a moment to vibrate together in Om, and then I'll recite the quotes. Inhaling. People who succeed have momentum. The more they succeed, the more they want to succeed, and the more they find a way to succeed. Everything is energy. Your thoughts begin it, your emotions amplifies it, and your action increases its momentum. Commitment is the igniter of momentum. Momentum demands movement. Turn every no into a not yet to keep the momentum going. So, momentum. You've already started your momentum just by sitting down, absorbing the quotes, and starting to move. So we'll weave this, go ahead, into the practice. So if you're sitting up on the blanket, you can move it behind you. And in this practice, I like to have 2 blocks. I use just a little towel, but you could use a yoga belt or an exercise band. You may not need any of that, but it's there in case. And then let's start with the legs out and talk about the hips for a moment. With the feet together and the knees out, you're making this diamond. And the knees, we're gonna focus on the hips externally rotating. So if you think of your hip sockets up here, right, they turn out. And then use your hands to lift up for a moment and just notice that. Can you sit up really tall with those bandhas engaged? And then let's just take a gentle neck stretch. So let your right ear drop and just let your hand be heavy on your head, and then pull the left shoulder away from your ear. Stay here for a few breaths. And then just notice, can you drop your chin down? Inhaling and exhaling. Notice if the neck is tight today. And then come back. And we'll go to the other side. So just let the ear drop, the left ear, and then just use the weight of your left hand to let the neck stretch on this right side. Rolling, really trying to get the right shoulder away from the right ear. And then drawing the left ear down. And now maybe you can turn. Just a nice neck stretch. And then come back. And just take a moment here, and we're going to bow forward. So you could use a yoga block to start, But like I said, you don't have to. We're just going to gently hold on here, pull the belly in, and just drop the head. And now tune into your breath, inhaling and exhaling. The belly is pulling in and you're rounding forward, and the shoulders are away from your ears. Couple more breaths, trying to open the knees gently. And then inhale, rising up. And we're going to come onto all fours. So you could just take your legs to the side and press up. And then when you're in this all fours position, notice as your spine, you want to try and find a neutral spine. So what that means is that your pelvis is not tilting forward and it's not tilting back. Just to start. Then we are going to tilt the pelvis as we also round the upper spine. So now we're going to tilt the pelvis back in a posterior tilt as we widen across the back. It's called protraction across your back. And posterior tilt with the pelvis is really drawing up. And then inhale, we tilt the pelvis the other way, an anterior tilt, and we come into an arch in the upper back. And try not to lead with your chin. Let the sternum lead you forward. And then we come back into that rounded position with the tail under, widening across the shoulder blades and pulling the belly in. And then inhale, coming forward. And you can arch the back here. Again, leading with the sternum, not the chin. And then come to neutral. Then we'll take the feet together. We're going to come into a child's pose. So a nice wide one with the knees wide, trying to take your butt back, reaching the arms forward. I'm going to use a block here because I have a little osteoarthritis in my knee, in my knees, and I want some assistance. So, but you don't have to. You could just leave your butt up, or maybe you take it all the way to the heels and it's no problem. Breathe here. Inhale and exhale. And take a couple more breaths, just feeling the length. Inhale and exhale. And now inhale, we're going to slowly make the way up to the hands and knees. And let's come into a puppy stretch. So we'll keep the hips high and reach the arms forward and just let the upper body start to melt forward. Breathe here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and trying to melt that heart down. Exhale. One more big breath in. And now we'll come back to all fours. And I'm going to use the blocks here, and I'm going to put them nice and high. And then I'm also going to take the blanket just for padding on my knees, but like I always say, it's not necessary, but it's nice. And then from here, nice and high on the knees, I'm going to use the blocks to then step the right foot forward. And then from here, we're going to stretch the top of this left hip and go deep into the bend of the front hip or the right hip. So using the blocks, just bend the knee forward. And then in the back leg, I want you to engage the under the butt muscles here. And we're trying to tilt the pelvis into a posterior tilt that's coming forward. And then at the same time, pull the right hip back and lean forward, and just notice how that feels. So only do what your knee can do, right? If it feels okay, you can bend forward, but if not, you can stay here and just work this under. And then from here, I'm going to take the arms a little bit back and see if you can lift up a little bit more. You could stay here, or maybe you could lift the left arm up and just keep lifting up. And just notice, can you lift the sternum up? Up. If it was possible, you might want to take both hands, but you could leave one hand and then rise up. And then from here, let's take a little side bend to the right. So lift up and then side bend to the right, keeping the tail under on the left side. And then inhale, rising up. Now we'll come back to the knees and just pause for a moment, coming back to neutral. So notice, does your butt want to go this way, or can you be right in the middle? And then you can use your hands and step the left foot forward. And from here, we're going to do the same thing. So feel the tail go under on that right side, start to come forward and lift the sternum. And just go as far as your knee wants to bend. And can you take that tail under on that right side and really get a nice stretch on the front, the hip flexors. So these are the muscles that flex the hip like when we sit. And then this side is pulling back, so we're engaged in these glutes. And then from here, you might be able to come back a little bit and lift the sternum, lift up, lift up, lift up. Maybe reach the arm, lifting, lifting, finding a back bend, lifting, but you're supported by your hips. Maybe you want to take both hands, breathing, breathing, and then slowly coming down. Inhale, if you can, lift that right side and take a side bend over to the left. And breathe. Inhale, you might feel a nice stretch on the front of the right hip. Those are your hip flexors. They get flexed a lot when we sit a lot. And side bend. And then inhale, rise up. And now we're going to come back to all fours. The knees. And then we'll take the blocks behind us if you're using them. If not, you could tuck your toes under and kind of create almost the same height as a block. And we're going to come into a half camel, right? Just take it easy. Just think of this as like a circular way to get in. So we're going to circle to the right, and I'm just touching the block here, and then I'm circling the left arm up and over, but I'm trying not to let my butt go back. So I'm using my legs, and I'm taking my pelvis a little forward and up, and then I just reach. Breathing, breathing. And then inhale here and come back. So really rooting down through the shins, taking the tail under. It almost feels like the pubic bone is going up towards my heart. I gaze over the left shoulder, I circle, and I just reach. And maybe it's here, maybe you stay here, right? But maybe you can take it back. Breathing, lifting, and then inhale, and we'll come back. And then from here, let's go ahead and take it to a nice gentle child's pose again. So open the knees, reach the arms. And if you wanted to use a block again, you could, but that's up to you. And breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. Just stay with your breath. Let's walk the hands over to the left. Breathing. Feel a line of energy from your right pinky finger to your right butt. Just feel that stretch. And then inhale, walk over to the right. And feel a line of energy from your left pinky to your left butt and reach. And then inhale, let's come back to the middle. And slowly start to rise up. And then from here, we're going to make our way back to seated. So I'm just going to turn and come back to seated. I'm going to take my blanket and move it against the wall. So this is something you could do against the wall. We're going to try it first, sit in Dandasana. So sitting up as tall as you can. You can kind of use the wall for reference. Can you really sit up? If not, bend the knees a little bit and see where you're at. And then from here, we're going to take it into Baddha Konasana, bound angular pose. So nice hips, nice inner thighs, and lots of external rotation here. So I'm sitting up as high as I can, and then I'm going to kind of lean back into the wall. So even if your knees are up here, see if you can sit up. And you're going to be pressing down just easily. And see if you can slowly ease your way down and just breathe. Inhale and go to where your body can go. So even if you're up here, it's okay. Just breathe. Inhale and exhale. And see if you can find some surrender there as you do that. Inhale and exhale. And if you feel resistance, that's okay. Just see if you can gently open it up. Breathing. And then inhale here. We'll gently let the legs come back together. And I'm going to move back over here. And then from here, we're going to do a nice roll down to the floor. So we're going to fix our props, get everything set up, and sit way up on top of your hips to start. And then from here, we'll bend the knees just a little bit so that you get that sense of that curling back in the pelvis, really curl it back. And then inhale, sit right up again. And then we'll do that again. Exhale, curl the pelvis back. And then inhale, sit up. And now we're going to go all the way down. So you could keep holding on if you'd like, or you could take your hands to the side and start to curl down. You could use your hands as you curl all the way down. And then once we're here, we'll pause and then we'll bend the knees. Let's go ahead and pull the right knee into the chest just for a moment. And then straighten the leg as best you can. So I'm holding onto the back. We'll do that a few times where you bend, trying to keep your pelvis neutral here and straighten. And one more time. And straighten. And just notice how that feels in the hamstrings, the back of the legs today. And then let's open the left knee out, roll to the outer edge, and let the right leg go out to the side. And just feel more of these inner thighs, opening the inner hips. And breathe here. Inhale. You could take your gaze to the left, or you could gaze straight up. And then inhale, letting the leg come up. And slowly lower this leg down with control, pulling the belly in. Notice, is your back arching, or can you keep neutral here? And then we'll bend the knee and we'll go to the other side. So bend the knee into the chest to start, just feeling that. And then go ahead and grab behind, interlace behind the thigh and try and straighten. Just do the best you can here. Notice what's going on in your spine. Are you arching? Are you tucking? Can you find neutral as you straighten? And one more. Straighten, hold. And then we're going to really feel these hamstrings. So we're working the front of the leg to stretch the back of the leg and start to open the leg out to the side. And just stay here, breathing. Inhale and exhale. Maybe you want to take your gaze to the right. Breathing. Inhale and exhale. And we'll slowly, bringing the leg back up, bend the knee and put the foot down. And then from here, you could maybe grab the sides of your mat and roll the shoulders open and walk your heels as close as feels comfortable towards your butt. And we're going to just lift up, use the under the butt muscles. Notice here, you're trying to really lift the butt up. And what's going on in your neck, right? It shouldn't be down, it shouldn't be up, it should be right and neutral, right at neutral. And there's a widening across the sternum, so you're not squeezing too hard between the shoulder blades. You're lifting up, lift up, feel those muscles. And let's slowly start to come down. And now we're going to do that again, but focusing on articulating the spine. So pressing through the feet, watch as or feel as the pelvis curls. So you have to pull the belly in and curl and lift up. It feels really nice. And then we'll just do one of these where we reach the arms over, really get long, and then articulate down. So just curl all the way down, curling. And then once you're at the bottom, you can let the hands come down. And then from here, let's go ahead and cross the right ankle over the left knee. Get a nice glute stretch. Pull in if you can, or you could stay here. That was more accessible to you. Pulling in. Can you really feel the glutes? And then from here, let's go ahead and release. And let's take this into a little bit of a twist. So take your right foot down to the left. Maybe you turn your gaze over your right fingertips and breathe. Or you could look straight up. And then inhale, letting it come up. Let's go the other way. So you could lift the hips, take it over to the right now. You could have your foot down Or you could gently have your ankle encouraging that left knee down a little bit. It's a nice side of the hip stretch. Maybe you could take your gaze to the left and then inhale, come up. Let's do the other side. Left ankle over right knee, pull in or stay here. And then from here, we'll take it to a twist. So we go over to the right. And maybe you take your gaze to the left, breathing, just noticing what's going on in your body. And then we'll come back and we'll go the other way. So just taking everything over to the left, you could encourage this right knee to come down with the left ankle, or you could be down here. Maybe you want to take your gaze either straight up or to the right, breathing. And then bring it back. And now we're just going to hug the knees in for a moment. If you want to curl up, and then just let everything go. And we're finding ourselves now in a nice Savasana. So corpse pose, just letting everything go and tuning in to that inner light and stay in that. And you can stay here as long as you'd like, but I'm going to go ahead and take us up to seated. So just become aware of the breath as you slowly move fingers and toes. And then we'll start to pull the legs in and come to a fetal position, but stay in this energy as you do this. So go slow. Pause in your fetal position. And then slowly making your way up to seated. And we'll find that nice seat. Hopefully after the practice, the hips feel a little bit more open now. And you just stay here for a moment. And notice how just by getting started has created this great momentum. And you can take this and share it in everything you do. Namaste.